Ho, 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 and welcome to the merry bowels of Netflix. Santa's elves have been busy in the workshop making toys to make a happy Christmas morning for all the girls and boys, but two sorry elves have not yet arrived at their post, for they've stayed up all night watching movies to roast. Elf Isaac and Elf Larry have pissed off Kris Kringle, for Santa told the both of them not to intermingle. For their hatred of each other there indeed was no fix, and together they did dwell inside the bowels of Netflix.
Alright, welcome to the bowels of Netflix. I'm Isaac, and with me as always is my fearless co-host Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
I'm great, Brev. I'm bloody great. The neighbors upstairs is smicking and smacking around and making all kinds of noise, and it's turned Australian real quick.
Sounds like you've been traveling, Larry. What have you been up to?
In 30 more seconds, that accent would turn into Mario. It always does.
You have to let it go the full distance once, just so we can see.
I don't know if Mario just makes me feel safe, or I don't know if it gets to my. I'm not very Italian, but you could if I put on a chain and a puffy jacket, the Italian comes out.
Do you still roleplay in the bedroom as Princess Peach?
I don't want to talk about it. Now, what the question you should be asking is, does my lover roleplay as Mario or Bowser?
Yeah, I know it's Bowser. It's not a question.
It's absolutely Bowser. It's 100% Bowser. It's never not been Bowser.
Oh, God. Well, we are the bowels of Netflix. We make each other watch ridiculous movies and then try to entertain you by describing them.
It's the holidays!
It is!
It's Christmas time!
Holly jolly Christmas.
I mean, it's not yet. This is the first of 2 Christmas episodes.
It's getting crunch time. Everyone better be ordering their shit and buying their gift cards and
oh my God, I ordered some gift cards today. And it was like, if you need expedited shipping, you needed to get it 3 days ago. And it was like, but you can get this shipping for $19 for 2 chunks of plastic. It's great. It's great.
It's the American way.
Yeah.
But
next episode, you're going to be opening your gift from me. From me to you.
I'm concerned.
No. This is a good one. Has the ticking stopped?
It's going to be a cobra.
Has the ticking stopped yet? When the ticking stops, I need you to call me.
The ticking stopped. The ticking's going on, but the meowing stopped.
Okay, well, that was expected.
But yeah, these are our holiday episodes. We're watching Christmas movies.
Yay!
So that's
excited.
Exciting. But make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Bowels of Netflix. Send us an email, bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts, feelings. Send us nude pictures, please.
Sure.
High resolution, obviously.
Yep.
We'll send some back of also nude pictures.
If you are a gigantic turtle monster, send your nudes directly to me. You'll be interviewed and invited into the boudoir post-haste.
And make sure to rate and subscribe and tell us about your friends, because we'd love to hear.
Yeah. I don't think that's right, but I also do want to hear about people's friends.
I want to know what it's like to have friends. That
yeah,
would be
I know.
nice.
I have enemies. And I have enemies and frenemies, but I have no...
Frenemies.
Friend.
Isn't that a movie?
I'm sure it's 5 movies.
Oh, God. Oh,
I kind of hate the phrase, but it applies occasionally.
You know what I
guess
hate?
Another word is for them is coworkers.
The expression I hate so much, and I see it on like fucking stupid Marilyn Monroe shit, is champagne for my real friends and real pain for my sham friends. I hate that so much.
Is that like this year's crop of beach fucking shirts? That's what it sounds
it's
like.
been
like
around for a little
shirts?
while. It's one of those dumb things where people think it's all clever and it's not.
For fuck's sake.
Stupid.
That's moronic.
But
Champagne
Larry,
for my...
What movie did you get yourself into this week?
So I hopped on I skipped up on a kip for a lorry drive across the pond to jolly old England. I ran out of words. I ran out of English words very
Fish
quickly.
and chips. Boot of the car.
Yeah, fish and chips. The lorry. Did I say lorry?
Yep. Chuffed to bits. Chuffed to bits, I am.
Chuffed to bits. Absolutely knackered. I'm knackered from my swim. Are you having a laugh?
You swam. Why'd you swim?
Are you having
It's
a laugh?
2018, Larry.
I didn't kip across the pond to... Oh, man. I thought I'd be better at this. I'm like, I don't need to write a joke. I can improv an English joke. Nope, turns out I can't. So
we're not going to do too well when we, try our Ponzi scheme in England and pretend to be British.
No. Let's start in, Alabama. They seem trusting of white people.
They don't have a lot to invest, though.
Well, look,
they have
there's got to
hookworm.
be...
They really do.
Isn't that a dog disease?
No, it's the disease you get through the dirt into your feet.
Oh, God, you told me about this, and it's horrifying. I don't want to hear about it.
Yep. Alabama's living in abject poverty.
It's better than Flint, Michigan. But in England, what we're going to learn is everything is great, even prison. Because today's movie is Get Santa.
Well, Larry, I think you fucked up. I told you to watch a Christmas movie. And
Yes.
you watched a prison movie.
Yes.
You mucked it up, Larry. We're going to have to start over.
Well... I've got this review about this prison movie, so I might as well just get through it. I mean, Santa Claus is in it. Santa Claus is in jail. Santa Claus has to fashion a shank out of a toothbrush.
Santa Claus would have made Andy Dufresne's life a lot easier. All I want for Christmas is to get out.
Okay. Well, this movie actually is about Santa Claus in prison.
Okay. That's the only thing I know about it, and Warwick Davis is in it.
Fun fact, the original name for this movie was Fuck Bitches Get Santa, but they cut the fuck bitches because it just seemed a little bit un-English. They didn't think it'd do well.
Not quite proper.
No, it would be more like, winner with a bud, get Santa, yeah. I don't understand how a movie about Santa Claus in prison can be so fucking boring.
You'd think it'd be entertaining.
I fell asleep twice while watching it the first time, and then I was very dreary in the middle of this review. Now, again, the first time I watched it was also I started at 11 p.m., which for old man me is now getting close to bedtime. But it's so dull, and then the ending gets so not insane, surreal is the word I think we use best for it. It's like, this is really happening, huh? I'm really seeing this, aren't I?
Are you sure you didn't watch Hurricane Bianca 2? Because it sounds like what happened in last week's movie.
No, this one doesn't nearly come close to the same levels of insane, but there's
no rat rape.
There's one... Thankfully, no.
Okay.
There's one particular scene where I just was looking at it and I had to pause it. I'm like, huh, this is happening then, all right. And
I'm very curious.
I was going to give you a bunch of choices of things if you could predict what that scene was going to be, but I don't even want to throw it out into the consciousness. I just want to hit you with it, and just I want to hear your disbelief if you think it's actually real.
Santa's not a pedophile, is he?
No, it's rated
Okay.
G. It's rated PG.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, so this movie was made in... I definitely have the thing prepared, so shut up, Isaac, shut up. Shut up with your accusing eyes and your bedroom eyes.
I'm undressing you with these eyes, Larry.
I'm mostly nude, so it shouldn't take much. This movie was made in 2014. As we said, it's English. It is a family comedy movie. It has currently on IMDb 6.3 out of 10 stars, 2,300 odd reviews. It's about average. Rotten Tomatoes, weirdly, 77% on the tomato meter. So a bit out of our that's higher than our usual, low bar.
Made me very nervous to have this be an option for you.
The audience score is 53%, so that's a little more realistic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, this movie is not good. I did not enjoy it.
Good.
But I didn't get to levels of hate never before seen, like, in previous movies.
There wasn't a Mandy Moore cowgirl or anything.
No,
right?
It wasn't Cowgirl Story or Love, Wedding, Marriage or Naked or that. I don't know. We did another episode about something. I don't remember.
Yeah, we've done a few episodes.
Something about something. It's like a magician or something. I don't know.
Magician.
So, yeah. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. I mean, it was English. I don't think it ever came to America. I didn't look that part up. I probably should have. I don't know why it's on. I don't know whose dick somebody sucked to put this on Netflix, but I imagine a dick was sucked, or a clit was licked. I don't know. I mean, hey, it's
right. Yeah,
it's a new world.
The glass ceiling is shattered, and clits are getting licked all over the Fortune 500 corporate office parks.
Oh man,
we're progressive. We're feminists.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The world's definitely not going to hell. So yeah, this I don't know if this ever made it across the pond, which is, as you may have realized, is the only English expression I'm confident in. So you're going to hear it a lot. But yeah, it's not much else to say. I never heard of this before, and I don't think I'll ever hear of it again, God willing. So yeah, as you said, also has Warwick Davis in it.
God bless the man.
May he live forever. Seriously. Famous for, he of course was Wicket Ewok in Star Wars. He was like the Ewok who becomes Princess Leia's friend. And of course, famously, last episode, that is how I determined that we would have Warwick Davis in it, because I am a fucking golden god, like Dennis Reynolds.
You are too good, sir.
He's Professor Flitwick, is that correct? In Harry Potter, and in the movies, obviously. And he is, in my favorite role, he is Willow in the famous movie of the same name. Which is sort of, it's kind of like a one-movie, much more comedic version of Lord of the Rings. Kind of. Not exactly the same, but similar character archetypes. And it's about a little creature who has a big adventure. So, if you've never seen it, it's quite good as far as adventure movies go.
I still haven't seen that one. I got to check it out.
It's good. It's very fun. Like it's like maybe a PG-13. It's good. It's like very light. It's like Lord of the Rings light, but it's good stuff. Yeah, I very enjoyed. So he's great. Criminally underused in this movie.
Oh, disappointing.
And it's like, if he was just a bit part, it'd be one thing. It'd just be like, oh, hey, Warwick Davis is a bit part in this. But he's a character in this. So he should be, as far as I'm concerned, in every other scene. And he's not. He's like weirdly a minor character, and that just seems wrong. It's not like a one-off. It's not just like he's like the clerk in a deli and makes a small person joke or something. No, he's like a sort of a major character, but not. I don't know. Criminally underused. That's all I have to say about it. But other than that, yeah, I don't know any of these other fucking Brits. I mistook one for Jon Snow, but it wasn't actually him. So, but anyway, so our movie opens up with a budget version, the English version of Ryan Reynolds getting let out of prison. I asked 3 people this time, and I said, "Does that look like Ryan Reynolds?" And they said, "Yeah, sort of." So I feel confident in it, not just me being ridiculous. He's getting let out of prison. He's handed his effects, which include a photograph of his son and a Rubik's Cube, because why fucking not?
Sure.
I had my Rubik's Cube when I was in prison. On a news broadcast in the background, we see that there are reindeer wandering around London, seemingly unmolested or unbothered, but they're like following them around with cameras. I feel like someone is. First of all, how is this news? Right, I guess in England, Bill Hicks, who is a very funny, very dead comedian, has a joke about how he was doing a set in, I believe, Oxford, and he had a joke about how English news is very tame. He's like, he was talking about how an American newspaper had like a boy beheads 12,
right? Yeah.
And he's like, there's a picture of him holding the head, and then he's read an English newspaper, and it was like, some hooligans knocked over a dustbin in Shaftesbury. But yeah,
That sounds
so
like England.
yeah, so there's a story about fucking reindeer wandering around. They're following around with cameras, but whatever. We see the home of the son of English Ryan Reynolds. He is playing with a model train with his wimpy, weird stepdad while his mother looks on disapprovingly. They're like playing with the train, and the stepdad's trying to be like, "Oh, look, the train's choo-choo, everyone's having fun on the train." And the little boy's like, "No, there's no lady on the tracks. Oh, she's dead, her body's all mangled, blah, blah, blah." And that never goes anywhere, and I don't really understand, but okay, sure, because the kid's not violent or weird, so I don't. That's just kids being kids. Who knows? Whatever. Why did I have to watch an English boy playing with a train with his weird young stepdad? I don't know. English Ryan Reynolds calls the mom and asks if he can see his son, whose name is Tom, today instead of tomorrow. Mom says, "Fuck you, you can't change the plans." And then Tom asks her why she wouldn't let Ryan Reynolds come, and they argue because apparently Tom blames Mom for, quote-unquote, being horrible to English Ryan Reynolds, which is an English expression. He's like, "Hey, Dad won't come to visit if you're horrible to him," and then, like, pouts off to his room, very Englishy. So, yeah, apparently then Tom overhears Mom and Stepdad talking that English Ryan Reynolds has apparently had a lot of chances not to let Tom down and everyone else down, but has failed every time. Because, I don't know, he's a criminal. We don't know what he did yet. Apparently he's a getaway driver for bank robbers or some shit. It's never...
Oh, shit.
All they call
That's
him is a
intense.
getaway driver who didn't get away, and he spent like 2 years in jail. So
You had one job.
pretty much,
One
yeah.
job.
I mean, it never talks about like his cronies or his, I guess, not cronies. He wouldn't be a boss. I think getaway driver's pretty low in the organization. So Tom writes a letter to Santa and places it in the chimney. I don't, not like the chimney.
It's not how the fuck that works.
He puts it in the fireplace, which is like has a letter holder in it. So I don't know if that's an English thing or if he just. I mean, it might have been it might have been a log holder, and I don't know what I'm looking at. Because
Is it the flue or flute? What do
no,
you call
it's like in the base of the fireplace. It looks like what you put a Yule log on, but it might have just been for something like that. You know, it might have just been for like a log. I don't know, but the chimney. The fireplace is not lit. It's just.
But this kid really thinks Santa comes to every house to go in the chimney to get the Christmas letters.
Yeah, but Isaac, he does. Well, I mean, hold on 1 second, because he puts it there, and then he like runs out the door, and the letter flies up the chimney, and flies around in the air, and then like crashes through the shed in the backyard.
What?
Yeah, I mean this. I don't. What?
The letter crashes through the shed.
I mean, it doesn't. It just. It goes through the door and like knocks something over. We don't see what happens, but like it goes into.
It doesn't
his
sound
shed.
like crashing through. I think you exaggerated a little bit.
It like makes a knocking over something sound because sheds are full of like all
You
paint
said
cans.
crashing through. I'm picturing a hole in the roof of the shed.
Crashing
now, like a
through the
bowling
snow
ball.
with a one whore open sleigh. What rhymes with sleigh?
Lay.
Got it. One horse open lay. Meanwhile, English Ryan Reynolds meets with his parole officer, who was a miserable large woman named Ruth, who is feeding her pet toad, who's only in 2 scenes.
All right.
She offers English Ryan Reynolds a mince pie, which is some kind of English food that just sounds gross to me. I don't know what mince is, but it's a very unappealing word. They talk back and forth. Parole officer is a bitch and busts his balls about being a criminal. She tells him if he misses even a single parole meeting, which are daily, she will send him directly to jail without even letting him pass go or collect $200.
I was hoping you were going to get there.
Of course. I think, actually, I wrote down 200 titties, but apparently I forgot to say that joke because I was looking into your eyes instead of reading my joke. So, thank you. Thank you for having beautiful, sexy eyes.
That's a much better game. 200 titties.
Yeah. I mean, I'd enjoy it more. I think
You
in
gotta play with
England,
100
I don't know
people.
what their money is in England. It's like fucking
Pounds.
pounds.
Pounds, you jackass.
Right. And what's the exchange rate? Is that like 242 pounds? Pounds
something
sterling.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know. She eats a fly off one of her pies, which is a thing that happens.
In England?
I don't know. I think it
What?
happens
They
in this
just eat
movie.
Flies?
fuck bitches get Santa. I was like, I don't. What's hard to understand about
fuck
this?
Fuck bitches get Santa. Eat flies off your mincemeat pies.
It's like, no, she doesn't. She like the fly lands on it and he sees it, doesn't say anything, and then she eats it. She takes a bite without looking, and the fly's in her mouth, and she like just no sells it and swallows it like while staring him in the eye, like a hard motherfucker, like from the streets.
Oh, okay.
Like a hard pipe hitting, you know, et cetera, et cetera. A la Marcellus Wallace. Back at the house of Mom and Tom, Tom is awakened in the night by a banging and a clattering from the shed. Apparently it's not a letter flying through it. Excuse me, fucking adjective police. He sneaks downstairs, coming across Mom and Stepdad in the early stages of making love in the living room. So decides to go investigate the noises himself. They're like drinking wine and making out, like all sensual making out too. Which is weird.
I thought they were like in missionary and they just hadn't switched to reverse cowgirl yet.
No.
Okay.
PG, rated PG.
Right.
Christmas family comedy. They're just like drinking wine and like making out, but like sensually making out, not just like, you know. Well, anyway.
Is he pass and go? Is he grabbing any titties?
I mean, it's hard to see. He might have a little handful of titty.
All right.
But I don't think so because Christmas movie.
Oh, that's a good name for a book. A little handful of titty.
Little handful of... Yeah, that could be the name of your autobiography.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tom creeps up to the shed, and sure enough, in the shed is Santa Claus.
Ah.
Or at least an old white guy dressed like Santa Claus. And he's just shacking up in their shack. We find that Santa is English, which is awfully convenient if I were a casting director. The kid says, "Oi, shouldn't you be in Lapland?" So, Isaac, are you familiar with what Lapland is?
Where pedophiles go to play?
Lapland is actually a region in Finland. It's a real place.
Okay.
And the English think that's where Santa Claus lives. And this is not just forget Santa. This is an actual thing.
I thought the whole world was in agreement on the North Pole.
I thought so too. Well, no, I mean, you know that one episode of The Simpsons where he makes the gay friend? And then he says
Not
that
really, no.
the Japanese call Santa annual gift man and he lives on the moon. Now I wonder if that's true too. Because the English actually historically think that Santa lives in Lapland, which is in Finland.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I really,
what do the Finnish think?
I don't know. They're not allowed to think. Not since the war. Not since we handed them their ass. I really don't know. I assume that... I don't know. They probably just love that fucking rich English tourists taking their fat Augustus Gloop fucking fat English children there. So they're probably loving it. They probably can't get enough. They got the real Santa in a fucking tank downstairs in the Finnish capital, and they're cloning him and sending Santa clones to Lapland for fat English mince pie guzzling twats. Why am I like this?
But that's the problem. You can't have Santa live in a place you could go on vacation because that's all the kids are going to want to do. That's why the North Pole's fucking brilliant.
They go on vacation there. I don't understand it.
Mommy, Daddy, can we go to visit Santa at the North Pole? No, Timmy, you'll die if you go to the North Pole. It's negative 100 degrees.
If anyone who listens to this podcast is in England, can you please explain it to us? I did some research, but I kind of stopped. I didn't realize you'd have even more questions than I have.
Oh my god, yes. Please, yeah, if anyone has pictures of them in Lapland and not the Lapland with your uncle, please send them to us.
This really caught me off guard. I've never heard of Lapland before. So, all right, that's a thing. So Tom calls, so to get back to the movie, Tom just found a fat white guy with a beard dressed like Santa Claus in his shed. And he calls his dad, English Ryan Reynolds, and tells him that, per Santa, he has come to help, Reynolds has to come and help recover the reindeer and the sleigh. Apparently Santa asked for English Ryan Reynolds specifically. Obviously, Reynolds thinks this is a load of shit and tells Tom to put Mom on the phone, but as she's being tenderly laid by Stepdad upstairs, she obviously can't come to the phone. But Stepdad's a bad lay. That was the joke there.
Yeah.
So English Ryan Reynolds shows up at Mom and Tom's house, confronting Santa in the garage. Santa greets Ryan as if Ryan knows him. Tom believes everything that Santa says, but Ryan, as an adult, obviously knows this is all a line of horseshit. Santa says something about Ryan knowing him when he was a boy, but they are interrupted by Stepdad, who heard the ruckus and has come to investigate. Santa fucks off, and Stepdad orders Tom inside. However, when Mom calls from the house asking Stepdad what is going on, Stepdad tells her it's just a cat, like giving English Ryan Reynolds the nod, like the man nod. You know the one I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's imagine let's imagine this is alternate universe Isaac, who never met his lovely wife, who I hope is having a wonderful day today. And you marry a woman who has a child from a previous marriage, and her ex-husband is in jail, right? And he gets out of jail, let's say tomorrow. And tomorrow night, you're fucking your wife, and you hear a banging and a crashing and a hooing and a hawing from upstairs, and you go into the shed, and your stepson and his recently released from jail father, and when I say recently, I mean 12 hours ago from jail father, are just in your shed. And you say, oh, nothing wrong, it's just a cat, dear, and you give him, like, the nod. I guess it must be an English thing. I feel like in America, I'm going to try and find a gun with which to shoot this man.
Yeah,
because
I wholeheartly agree.
Whatever his intentions are for being in my shed at 3 a.m. with my son, with my stepson, on, his ex-wife's property, assumedly, can't be good. Can't be good. No.
It's much easier for me to imagine it from the perspective of the divorced dad who just got out of prison, because that's more likely where I'll end up. But yeah, I would be surprised if I got the nod from the stepdad in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I wouldn't be up to any good.
No, there can be no good he can be up to in that shed at 3 a.m. with the kid. Yeah. And, Santa's fucked off. So, what's happening here? Doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. We see Santa wandering through the streets of London. I don't think I explained earlier. He crashed through an electric wire and wrecked up his sled, which is how he ended up in this predicament.
Okay.
Eventually, he has a new sleigh. Eventually, he comes across the reindeer, which are being kept somewhere, like an animal shelter or something. Whatever it was, I missed it both times I watched this. Anyway, he starts talking to them, and we cut to English Ryan Reynolds watching TV the next morning. He's working on his Rubik's Cube because, of course he is. When he sees the news last night, he sees on the news that last night, which is the last scene we just saw with Santa for us here at home, Santa tried to catapult one of the reindeer out with a board. He put a reindeer on one end of a board and tried to jump on the other end to catapult it over the fence.
Okay.
Like a 2x4, so it broke immediately. And has been summarily arrested, because, sure, and is going to prison. Not jail, prison.
Yeah, I don't think that's a prisonable offense.
For those of you who don't know, prison is long-term, jail is short-term.
Catapulting a reindeer, I don't know what
for trying to steal reindeer that were yesterday literally walking randomly in the streets. At that point, is it even theft?
I don't know.
Also, no trial. On Christmas Eve, there's no trial. He's brought from the crime scene straight to prison.
We don't know how the justice system works in England. Maybe the Queen just has to raise her scepter or something.
There's a fat guy in a fucking wig who's shoving his face with minced pies. I don't know why I'm taking a shot at the English today. I think it's because this movie was boring. I usually don't have an issue with them. Except for that damn revolution in the War of 1812.
Uppity Brits.
Yeah, I know. Coming in our land. It's my house. So Santa's giving his effects to the guard while still dressed as, fucking Santa. He presents 10 candy canes, or as the guard puts it, sticks of rock, implying that it's cocaine, I guess? Or is that just an English thing? Do they call candy canes rocks?
No, I don't know what the English
Who fucking knows? Their expressions are ridiculous. Their fucking island is just as weird as Japan is. I don't know why Japan gets such a rap for their weird
tentacle porn, Larry.
What's
tentacle
wrong
porn.
with that? Look, you guys
That's
are
weird.
isolated on an island. You know how much fucking tentacles be coming out of stuff? If I put you on an island.
There's nothing wrong with tentacle porn. It's just weird.
Yeah, and the English are weird too. All right?
Not tentacle porn weird. Although they got Lapland, okay.
They take their children to Lapland.
I swear, some uncle came up with this. I'm getting skeeved out.
Some Finnish uncle. It's just like a Viking. A very strange Viking.
Hey, come sit on my lap and I'll finish.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Merry Christmas from the boughs of So, he gets taken to jail, and he's immediately jeered at for his appearance and standing. Or, sorry, to prison. Santa's taken to prison. They make a habit of saying prison. And he's jeered at for his appearance and all that. He gets put into a tiny, tiny cell made of concrete for attempted minor theft. Let's remember again.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And in the sky above the city, we see letters floating in the breeze hither and thither. Get used to that. Next day, English Ryan Reynolds picks up Tom, who demands to see Santa or he's not coming with. They argue about it for a while, with Tom insisting that the Santa in prison, whom they met in the shed the night previous, is indeed the real Santa and will only go and see him, no one else. They argue some more, but eventually Reynolds relents and they go to prison. He bribes one of the guards, and they get into the prisoner's visitation area to meet with Santa, who, ironically, considering our last conversation, is now sporting a molesting uncle brand denim jacket, which I guess is just standard prison wear. Like, the only people who have owned a denim jacket like this have looked at child porn. I'm sorry to all our listeners who own denim jackets.
When they manufacture denim jackets, they in each pocket they just put one photo of child porn.
Denim jackets are so... It's all I think of is an uncle.
Child porn?
No,
What?
Well, it just makes me think of a molesting uncle. I don't know why.
Next time you see a guy in the wild in a denim jacket, you just shout, "Hey, you leave those kids alone."
And then when I get arrested, I'd be like, I was very poorly singing Pink Floyd lyrics. Santa and English Ryan Reynolds banter after Tom says they're here to rescue him. Santa says that reindeer don't actually fly after Reynolds suggests they use the reindeer to fly you out of here. Reynolds is in staunch and very reasonable disbelief about this crazy old dude being the real Santa Claus until Santa relays the story of young Reynolds, age 7, who saw a shooting star in the sky that was, in actuality, Santa himself. St. Nick tells the story in perfect recollection because apparently Santa has, like, Sherlock-level memory powers because he seemingly knows everything about everyone. Like, he truly sees you when you're sleeping and knows when you're awake. Like, he knows everything about everyone, and we'll get to it later. He tells a story about Reynolds' parents getting drunk and arguing, causing Reynolds to run outside into the garden crying, where Santa left him a gift. Isaac, one guess as to what the gift Santa left him was. Of course it was the Rubik's Cube. What else would it be, you knob?
The Rubik's Cube. Who hangs onto a toy that long?
That is the moral of the story. That question is the moral of the story, and I am not kidding.
Gross.
We'll get to it. Santa says because he kept it because it's the last Christmas his family ever had. Not true, but we'll get to that. So Santa gives them instructions to seek out Dasher, the reindeer, who will, and I quote, know what to do. Reynolds tells Santa to go see the barber and to help him survive in prison, as they were apparently buddies during Reynolds' prison days. Yesterday.
Right. Way back when I was in prison.
Santa gives the barber, and thus the audience, his life story. Standard stuff, but whatever. The elves in Lapland, and little kids, and vigorous thrusting, and fluids in every hole. The barber says that story will get him killed, raped, and killed in that order. There's some back and forth where he tries to give Santa a new backstory of, like, a villainous criminal, and to survive, it's not funny. Back to Reynolds and Tom. They get to where the reindeer are being kept, which is now just in a field for some reason. I don't know.
What? Why?
They argue for a bit. Their relationship is like the dad just doesn't... The kid believes anything he's told. Anything in this movie that someone tells the kid, and he's like, I don't know, 8 or 9, he believes it. This guy's Santa Claus. Oh, he's Santa! Of course, Dad, you fucking knobhead, he's Santa! And
that kid better not ever go to Lapland. He'll get eaten alive there.
The kid will end up in Lapland this movie.
It's a tragedy.
And, like, the dad is like, I don't have time for this. I'm trying to be a good dad, and I've been a terrible dad, and blah. The dad is like, apparently his whole life story and everything, they do the great thing I love in movies where they tell and don't show. Because his whole bit is that he just lets everybody down. But we never really see him letting everybody down, because, like, all he kind of does is just whine about not wanting to not believing it's the real Santa. But he still goes along with everything the kid wants. I mean, he argues about it for like 10 seconds, then he's like, fine, we'll go and see the fucking reindeer, or we'll go and see Santa's ball sack in Lapland, or whatever. So, yeah, the two of them go into this field with the reindeer and try to communicate with the reindeer, asking Dasher to show himself. Santa said that Dasher could communicate but not speak. Tom is really enthusiastic about all this, and Reynolds is reluctant and being kind of a knob about it. Eventually, one of the reindeer farts, and the duo reasons, after some questions, that the farts are how the fucking reindeer communicate.
Classy.
I hate fart humor. It's stupid as hell. I'm not going to spend any time on it. It's not that it's not, so how rude or anything like that. It's just stupid. It's not funny. They realize that there's only 6 reindeer present instead of 7, finding a chewed-off rope. As they're pondering this, a police car approaches at breakneck speed with 2 characters inside I'm going to call Mr. and Mrs. Cop, even though they're in no way romantically entangled. Mr. and Mrs. Cop rolls off the tongue, so it's Christmas. Fuck
Fair
you.
enough.
It's also almost my birthday. Fuck you. Mr. Cop is an older, hard-nosed sort, while Mrs. Cop is younger, seemingly softer, and I believe vaguely a rookie. They approach Reynolds and Son at top speed, attempting to arrest them for, as Mr. Cop puts it, suspected reindeer rustling. Again, let me point out, these reindeer do not belong to anyone. I mean, technically they belong to Santa Claus, but they were found in the street like homeless people. No one arrests anyone for suspected homeless person rustling, but God forbid you rustle a reindeer. Also, what the fuck is England? Really? Really? How is this a crime? How is this a crime people spend time on? During the car chase, a reindeer, Dasher apparently, pokes his head into the cab of their car. They get into their car, which is, it's like a shitty old VW van. And Dasher, it pokes his head through the cab, so he, is there in the van with them. Reynolds and Son bust through a gate to escape the pursuit and manage to elude Mr. and Mrs. Cop. Back in jail, we see that the barber is having a tough time teaching Santa to act tough and villainous. I'm bored to fucking tears by it. It's basically like Borat, but English and less funny. Where they're trying to get him to, come on, show me a mean face. And then Santa can't do a mean face because he's Santa Claus and he's jolly and happy. And he, can't do a villainous walk or anything like that. Whatever. Eventually, the barber, at the end of his training, gives Santa something like a makeover. He gives him beard tails and cornrows. He gives him, 2 beard, Viking tails, kind of. And then Santa slow motion strides through the prison, showing off his new tough guy demeanor as straight outta Compton place, which was vaguely amusing. I like straight outta Compton, and just Santa Claus with cornrows that's the thing that happened. Because spoiler, it's actually Santa Claus.
All right,
Santa Claus is real. We'll get into that. We'll get into the
mythology.
Yeah. Dasher leads English Ryan Reynolds and Tom off into the woods where they find Santa's sleigh. When Reynolds starts to believe maybe there is something magical at play here. Back in prison, Santa comes across Warwick Davis, one of my favorite actors. Okay, we already actually talked about Warwick Davis, so the gushing I wrote down about him here I can skip. Now, Santa, of course, what does he think of Warwick Davis?
I don't know if we mentioned it, but Warwick Davis is a little person, or a dwarf.
That is correct.
So, of course, Santa thinks he's an elf.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember what I said earlier about Santa relayed a story about English Ryan Reynolds when he was a kid and had a perfect memory about an event that he wasn't present for?
Yeah.
So Santa can basically read the minds of humans and knows everything about humans and the gifts he gives them. But he sees Warwick Davis, who was a human being with feelings and emotions and hopes and dreams and wants and probably fucked a bunch. And he goes, "Oh, it's an elf! How did you get away from your elf leader?" Which is ominous as fuck.
There's a possibility Santa doesn't view elves as people. He does use them as slaves.
Yeah, but Warwick Davis is a person. He would know this.
Is he?
Isaac, you curb your tongue.
I'm
How
just saying,
dare you, sir.
Santa knows more about the world than you or I do, and we shouldn't presume on his knowledge.
Santa goes into this whole fucking... He sings and he has a song that that elves cannot resist but to dance to. A fact which never comes up again, even when we meet actual elves. And of course, Warwick Davis doesn't dance because he's a human being with thoughts and feelings and emotions. Isaac, you fucking sizist.
Yeah, and he's probably fucked a bunch.
I hope he's fucked a lot.
Hope he's past go. Hope he's got 200 titties.
200 titties. So Warwick has a problem with Santa and his assholishness of not recognizing him as a human being. He calls Santa a bully and fucks off. Apparently Warwick's deal is that he's been telling everyone he's digging a tunnel to get out of prison. And then I think back to the gym he was working out in when they walked past, and I remember that there was a giant poster of a woman on the wall, which, of course, there's a tunnel behind that, because Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, of course. I mean, as soon as they said the word tunnel, my brain thought, did I see a poster? Yep, there was one in the room he was just in. There's a tunnel. Of course, later on, absolutely the tunnel that he and probably Santa Claus will escape through.
Yeah. Poster in the common gym area seems like it wouldn't work as well.
Little confusing, yeah. Well, they're the English. They're so busy shoving their faces.
Yeah, the prison walls are probably made out of chalk, too.
I'm
sure
really sorry, England. I don't
faster.
know what's wrong with me today. We never know what crime Warwick Davis is in for, but I just imagine it's got to be he's been in there a long time. He digs quite a tunnel. It's got to be capital murder. Or I think a crime against the realm in England is killing swans. So maybe he killed a bunch of swans. I don't know, he fucked him or something. I don't know. Why am I like this?
Fuck the swans to death.
I don't know why I'm like this. So the barber gets a call on his cell phone from English Ryan Reynolds. The barber is in prison. The barber has a cell phone in prison. The barber who committed a crime for which he is denied his freedom is allowed to have a cell phone with which he is given unlimited access to access the outside world.
Well, he might have gotten the cell phone from the prison economy. Might have sucked the right dicks, as it were.
I mean, he just has it at all times. He doesn't have to hide it. He just has it, in front of guards.
He might be sucking the guards' dicks. Larry, I don't think you've ever been to prison.
I haven't. Thankfully. No, I have not.
Dick sucking is a currency. Or not that it's not in prison, but...
Yeah, I mean... I think we became friends. Looking forward to your Christmas suck, by the way. Ryan Reynolds talks to Santa and asks him about the sleigh. We get basically the only funny bit of the movie here, where it did actually make me laugh. He's poking. Ryan Reynolds is poking around the sleigh, and Santa's like, "All right, do you see there's a pull out drawer basically in the back?" And Reynolds is like, "Yup." And Reynolds opens it up as Santa is saying, "Okay, now don't open it up all the way, or all the magic powder falls out." So, and as he's saying that, Reynolds opens it up, and all the magic powder falls out. Which is, I was like, all right, it's very good timing. I can appreciate good timing in a movie.
That's a good bit.
So the sleigh there's no magic powder, can't fly. Whatever the fuck that means, I don't care. Also, I watched White Christmas and Elf on the same week, so a lot of the detail, for the first time, I've never seen either one of those. Which, by the way, funny story, White Christmas was one of the movies I could have watched for the show. I'd forgotten about that. I'd totally forgotten about that. And I watched it with my girlfriend, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm glad I didn't pick that because, as we realized, I have to hate this show, and it's just not funny. It's just me talking about something I like, which who wants to hear that? So yeah, the details are all fucking mixed into my head. But in this, because I kept thinking back to Elf, where there's no magic powder, and I got all fucked up. So anyway, in this movie, the sleigh needs magic powder to fly. So Santa tells Reynolds to get the emergency kit. There's an emergency kit in the glove compartment of the sleigh before a large inmate steals away the phone from Santa. And after a long, stupid scene where Santa tries his tough guy act he learned from the barber, we eventually get to the point. The large inmate wants Santa to play Santa Claus for the prison Christmas Eve party.
That is not realistic.
Prison Christmas Eve party is apparently a thing, by the way. Yeah. So back at the sleigh, Reynolds and Son find the emergency kit, which includes a book that points them to a tower to go to if all else fails. It apparently is a good deal away. So Reynolds doesn't want to go because he will both A, not get Tom home on time, and B, miss his parole meeting and go back to jail.
Serious consequences.
The jail he's been out of for like 18 hours. Yeah, definitely can't miss that. So Tom says, Mom was right about you. You will just let me down like she always says you will. And the kid is pissed that Reynolds is trying to back out to, stay out of prison. Fuck you, Tom.
How old's the kid?
Like 8.
Dumb
Old enough
shit.
to know better. Reynolds calls up the mean parole officer to ask to get his meeting rescheduled, but she refuses because she's unnecessarily mean. She tells him if he misses the meeting today, he's going back to jail. Apparently he decides that fulfilling his child's bullshit expectations is worth going back to jail for, so he decides to go to the location and print it in Santa's emergency kit anyway. The next scene is a montage overlaid with the song Jingle Bell Rock, so I muted it and took no notes.
Oh, you hate that song?
Jingle Bell Rock is my least favorite song ever.
Oh, I like
and
that one.
Note that I don't say least favorite Christmas song.
Really?
Jingle Bell Rock is my least favorite piece of music produced on planet Earth.
Really?
I absolutely despise it with all my heart.
That's interesting.
I muted the television and took no notes for any of the montage out of spite.
All right.
So following that...
I'm glad I have that information now.
Yeah.
It's a song I'll play at your funeral. On the
That's
harmonica.
fine, I'll be dead. I'll be in hell screaming, so what's the difference?
Right, yeah. Fair enough.
Can you play it on the Jews' harp?
The Jews have a harp?
Yes. You know what the Jews' harp
Really?
is? It's a mouth harp.
Oh.
Or also known as a jaw harp. Also known as, for whatever reason, a Jews' harp.
Huh. Because their hands are too busy...
Don't. Stop. It's Christmas. Give them a fucking break, okay?
Is it still Hanukkah?
I think it just ended.
I was going to say flipping the pages of their Torahs because they're pious, good people.
Stop.
Come on, Larry. Come on, Larry. Come on.
Jesus Christ. So following that, we see Mr. and Mrs. Kopp in the police station talking about the stolen reindeer, Dasher. They can't ascertain, apparently, if this deer was one of the wandering London deer or one of the Queen's royal deer, which is apparently a thing.
Is that really a thing?
True. If this is true, if they stole one of the Queen's royal deer, this is a crime against the realm.
So,
because England pretends their fucking queen means anything important to the point that stealing one of her deer involves actual police work, despite the fact they don't even know if it was one of her deer.
Well, if someone stole the president's dog, that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all right with this.
Someone would get killed for that.
I just want to know... I don't know about killed. I just want to know why the queen has deer, and if the queen really has deer.
That's not the same. It's not the same as deer and a dog. She has many deer, assumedly. If she had one deer, they would know. So she has got to have at least enough that they can't tell if one of the queen's deer is missing. Because if she had 5 deer and there were only 4, it'd be real easy to fucking tell, wouldn't it?
If someone stole a peanut from Jimmy Carter's peanut farm, they would be in prison, and you know it, Larry.
How would you know? No, they wouldn't. Okay, Joseph Stalin has frequently said, well, he's dead. He has said that, and this is accurate, one death is a tragedy, 1 million deaths is a statistic. Now, that has nothing to do with anything. But fuck you and hope you die 1 million deaths.
Fair enough.
How did Jimmy Carter become president? I still can't wrap my head around that.
I don't know.
We elected 2 actors and a peanut farmer.
He was one of the best people who was president, just not a good president. He was too nice.
We elected a reality show host and a man who has been pictured with at least 2 monkeys and a peanut farmer.
Wait, who's
Ronald Reagan.
Pictured with monkeys?
Ronald Reagan.
Oh, okay.
Bedtime with Forbozo.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that's the Queen's deer. I don't know if it's a thing. Ask an Englander. Mean parole officer bustles in and demands Ryan Reynolds get arrested for missing his meeting. English Ryan Reynolds. It's not actually. It's just a very English. He kind of looks like Ryan Reynolds if you squint. I'm not maligning the actual Ryan Reynolds, who's a fine actor. And very handsome.
Oh, my God, yes.
She says that they have to arrest him, and then Mr. and Mrs. Kopp figure out from this that English Ryan Reynolds and son are the ones who stole the deer in the first place. So now they have it all wrapped up in a nice, tidy little English bow. On the road, Reynolds' shitty old van breaks down. There's police banter here, and they almost get away with no trouble. Wait. Oh, I didn't write down. The van breaks down, and a cop pulls up and, comes to the door, and the dad's like, shut up, I'll do all the talking. And they almost get away with it, and then what's the deer's name? Dasher. Dasher makes a bunch of fucking noise in the back, and then the cop goes to check, and then what does he do? He kicks open the back door and knocks the cop in the head, and the cop is unconscious now. So
and probably has severe brain damage.
One would only hope. He'd wanted to survive through this. So they decide to continue on foot. So they trap the cop in the back of the van by tying the doors shut and continue.
So now they've kidnapped a law enforcement official.
Well, no, I mean they leave the van there. I mean he gets in the next scene. He's out because they tied the back door shut. The van has 4 other doors. So, I mean, that probably stopped him and they leave him a lunch. So he probably ate the lunch. He probably stopped him for 30 minutes.
What's with you and British people and food?
I don't know, Isaac. I don't know. I really got grossed out by minced pies.
Are you hungry?
I'm fucking starving.
There you go. You wish you were British and you wish you had food.
I wish I was one of those things. Actually, I ate a sandwich before this. I'm not that.
You wish you were food?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Eat me, bitch. I don't know. I've got the shithouse blues. So Reynolds and son and Dasher continue on foot, trying to hitchhike with a fucking reindeer.
Right, yeah, okay.
Makes sense. Obviously nobody picks him up. In prison, Santa starts getting letters smack up against the windows of the prison, which finally convinces the prisoners that he is indeed the real Santa Claus. Except that it doesn't, because magic is apparently not convincing enough.
Right.
He does the trick again where he tells everyone all the things that he brought the prisoners when they were kids, and even what happened to those gifts after he dropped those gifts off. He even knows where one of the prisoners' estranged mother is. And yeah, Warwick Davis is not an elf. He's a human being.
Right. I really think Santa is prejudiced against little people.
Yep. At least Warwick Davis has a name. At least she's not a little Muslim girl who doesn't get a name. Someone's going to tell me that she actually has a name and I just missed it in that fucking movie, and I'm just going to have to kill myself. So yeah, and the Santa tells them that, because they then believe him after he tells the main head prisoner that, and he tells them that English Ryan Reynolds is on the case, and they're like, "Oi, that wanking wanker, he's not reliable. Oh, he's just going to fuck it up." And then Santa says, "Oh no, he'll get it," and that just continues the theme that the mom brought up from the beginning, where he's unreliable and doesn't ever follow through. But again,
even the prisoners think so.
Yeah, we don't ever see any evidence of that ever. Yep. So it's just them saying it, and it's just, I don't know. It feels like if you watched me at my job for 2 hours solving a problem with my PC, just It's not interesting. It's without knowing what I'm doing. Who gives a fuck? I don't.
Right,
It's
yeah.
stupid.
Bad storytelling.
So Mr. and Mrs. Kopp, along with the parole officer, have gone to visit Mom, where they call Reynolds and tell him he's out of chances if he doesn't bring Tom home ASAP. Reynolds, Tom, and Dasher, I wrote Prancer here because reindeer are all the fucking same, sneak into a theater to disguise themselves as a fairy, cat, and cow, respectively. It doesn't last longer than 15 seconds of screen time, so I don't know. We get a stupid subplot here. It's long and ultimately dumb and predictable. They're like, one of the guys they passed who was hitchhiking, while they were hitchhiking, who didn't pick them up, like has a big truck. And he sees on the news as they're wandering through the street in their costumes, he sees on the news there's like man, boy, and reindeer wanted for questioning and capital crimes against the realm because the fucking queen is important. And he we see him like eating a big steak and looking at this, and then he happens to come pick them up. And the thought is like, oh, he's just picking them up to turn them in because there's a reward for their capture. And then he lets them out when they want to be let out. And the dad, they're like the kid runs to the back to let the reindeer out, and the dad tells the dad like, hey, it's hard to be a divorced dad, and when I got divorced, my life was rough, and you have a Merry Christmas and God be with you and all that shit. And it's like, oh, he wasn't going to turn us over. He was nice. He wanted to help, and it's dumb. It lasts like 10 minutes, and
Jeez.
It like opens and shuts very quickly, and it was just like, well, this is
Padding
pointless.
screen time, I guess, yeah.
They could have just walked. This movie was an hour and 42 minutes long. Could have just walked off screen.
They didn't need that extra 10 minutes.
Nope, sure didn't. So in prison, Warwick Davis is put into an elf costume in order to aid Santa in his escape from prison, which is organized by the other prisoners. Because, of course, take away the man's humanity even more and dress him like an actual fucking elf, which does not ever apply to their eventual escape. Him being dressed as an elf does not apply to his escape because in order for him to help him escape, the plan is for Warwick Davis to fight a guard with punches that don't involve elf costumes. That's the joke. Why is he in an elf costume? Because he's not human.
Right.
Fuck me in the ass. In the police station, parole officer reveals that 20 years ago, Santa was arrested trying to climb down a chimney, and along the way to being taken to prison the first time, escaped. His name is supposedly Harry something or other. The guards drag him back to his cell in order to keep tabs on him because they think he's just this loony who like sneaks in and out of houses and they think he's a deranged old man who thinks he's actually Santa Claus. Now, because we've seen him use actual magic, we know he is the real Santa Claus. So this is all pointless. So they know that Reynolds is trying to come visit him because that's all he fucking talks about because he's a deranged magical old man. And apparently Reynolds is like London enemy number one right now because what else was in the news that day? The world continues to spin. Oi, the water's a bit chilly today if you dip in. The mince pies are at 48 degrees instead of 49, so, bring an extra napkin. No, this guy who's got a reindeer, and it might be the queen might have looked at it, so her fucking reindeer. I'm really sorry. I don't know. I think just watching this movie back to back 2 days in a row. I really hate the English because it was so boring. I don't have any. It's not lasting. It won't last. It doesn't. It's fine. You guys are cool. So Reynolds calls the barber, and the barber tells him that Santa is apparently a fake. Reynolds doesn't take the news well, surprise, surprise, and gets into an argument with Tom again. Tom doesn't want to give up the search, but eventually Reynolds browbeats him into submission. Reynolds calls mean parole officer and apologizes for everything that happened, saying he will allow himself to be picked up. Mean parole officer promises that he won't be arrested, but upon hanging up, she tells Mr. and Mrs. Kopp to go arrest him anyway because she is very mean. Also, I think, God, I keep missing stuff because this movie's so fucking... It jumps around a lot, too. They, where they're supposed to go on the map that Santa gave them, there's, this big tower that they can't figure out what it's for, and then this stuff happens with the phone call. So they're at, this weird tower, stone tower in the woods that they're not sure what's happening.
Is it a tower of friendship?
No, even worse.
Oh,
we'll get to it. At the prison, the barber tells Santa to fuck right off, and none of them are going to be tricked anymore. While at the tower, Reynolds and Tom strengthen their father and son bond over some sappy Christmas stories and blah, blah, blah. the kid starts fucking with the tower and the emergency book, eventually fiddling with, like, some mechanism on the front that it's constellations, I don't care, that opens it up, revealing the tower is in actuality a gigantic post box that magically gets all the letters the kids send to Santa.
Okay.
Except for the ones that just fly directly into his pocket when the plot demands it.
Right. I mean, sometimes I'll stand outside next to my mailbox waiting for the mailman, and I'll just say, just put in my pocket today, friend.
God, that sounds so boring. Just hearing that accent, I'm so bored. A door in the tower opens up, and before Reynolds can say, "Oh, mince pies!" Tom jumps inside and is sucked into a teleportal tunnel that stretches magically under the continent and drags him all the way to Lapland with his big mess of letters. It looks very Harry Potter-like, and like it's magic, and I'm sure it looked just lovely in the trailer when this movie came out originally.
Right.
Because that's all that scene was for, yeah.
Yep.
On TV, we see a news report that Australian children who are ahead time-wise and technically in Christmas morning now have woken up and not received their presents, which now seems like a good time to talk about how Christmas works in this universe. So, Isaac, I know I ask you a lot of questions that I immediately give the answer to and then call you some kind of mean name, but I'm going to ask you this question, and I mean this legitimately. I don't know. How does Christmas work in this universe?
Apparently, parents don't get any presents for their kids, but none of them believe in Santa.
So nobody believes in Santa, but Santa's also giving them presents.
And the news is reporting.
Yes.
Right. Well, this is all kinds of fucked.
It doesn't make any sense if you think about it for even a second. Just 1 second to think about it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's nice. So anyway, I guess Christmas is fucked because Santa's in jail. So Reynolds and son get shot out of the mail chute and into an empty, snowy field because apparently that's where fucking the mail lets out, even though there's no letters there. After a few minutes, they come across some voices in the mist, which turn out to be elves, and they're just generic green clothes, little people, white beards, blah blah blah. Not D&D elves, not Tolkien elves, traditional Santa elves,
right.
Tiny slaves.
Actually played by human little people, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think there could be some CGI. I didn't go check each one.
Right.
But I assume since they had Warwick Davis, they got other little people to play it. There's not any CGI in this movie. There is, but it's like, it's background stuff. It's not like the focus. Like that. Eventually, the sleigh's gonna be flying and shit like that. So, but it's never like, it's not like fucking Rogue One where the characters are CG.
Right. Okay.
God, I hated Rogue One. So Reynolds and Tom are led to the fucking. Okay, wait. No, I missed it blind. So they see these elves. They explain the situation to the elves, who argue very Britishly amongst themselves for a minute. They're of course also English. Before leading Reynolds and son to Elf City, which is basically just Whoville from The Grinch, but kind of bigger. Thousands of these diminutive little fucks. Reynolds and Tom are led into the actual war room.
What?
Like a 1950s war room, basically.
That the elves have?
Yeah.
Why?
Isaac, because fuck bitches get Santa.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. They have a war room. I mean, they don't have guns and shit. It's like, of course it's Christmased up, but it's a war room with like a big 1950s map with like blinking red lights on it and like switchboard elf operators, and they've got like a lit table with a map of the prison on it. And it's a war room, yeah.
Okay, but it's all Christmas-fied.
It's Christmas stuff. They don't have like weapons and shit. I mean, well, hang on, but there's not. It's Christmas stuff. Let's stop there.
Do they suck candy canes till they get sharp and stab people with them?
No, that was an episode of Family Guy, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or was it American Dad? One of those.
It's also
American
an episode
Dad.
from my childhood.
It was an. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I would just constantly get them sharp and then like prick my own fingers with them because I liked feeling pain as a small child. I'm not mentally well.
I don't think that was ever in question, and neither am I. So I guess They start to reason out what they're going to do. The elves are about ready to give up because apparently if they fly over 1,000 feet above the ground, Isaac, what do you think happens?
They go to heaven?
They explode.
Oh, what?
Which I also thought was a funny delivery as well, so I'll give them that.
Right, yeah.
The elves say it's too late anyway, since the Australian kids and soon the South Pacific kids already didn't get their presents. Reynolds' answer to that is, well, maybe Santa didn't leave the presents in the stockings. He could just deliver them later and say, oh, hi, kids, I left the presents hidden for you to find them. Tee-hee, like a fun game. I left them in the garage and the beaches and the... fucking Jell-O pudding. I don't care. Reynolds says there's an access door in the prison he knows about that he could use to smuggle Santa out of jail. The elves don't want to give him the job, but after some hemming and hawing, they agree. So the plan is thus. 1. English Ryan Reynolds and Son will take the backup sleigh and the remaining reindeer at the North Pole... Sorry, fucking Lapland. Didn't write that down. And fly it to the prison. 2. Meanwhile, they will drop off Oswald, air quotes, to free the other prisoner, the reindeer, and together the reindeer and Oswald will get the main sleigh prepped and ready for action for when the break-in has commenced. 3. Oswald is a squirrel.
Right. Why wouldn't he be a squirrel?
Do you have any questions?
Talking squirrel.
No.
Wearing clothes.
Squirrel. No. It is a real squirrel. It's not a CGI squirrel. It's a real squirrel. Trained squirrel. They give him a squirrel in a box, right? That's it. They're like, they say, how do we get the sleigh together? They're like, oh, Oswald and the reindeer will do it. And they're like, who the fuck's Oswald? And they're like, here's Oswald. And they open a box, there's a squirrel in it. And they're like, all right, Oswald.
I kind of like that. I'm all right with that.
So Reynolds gets in the backup sleigh. The elves launch some magic powder into the sky, which, by the way, that's the Northern Lights.
I think that's cocaine, actually.
There's no Northern Lights in real science. It's elves. That's how Santa gets across the world, by running on the Northern Lights as a road.
Fair enough.
They explain this, that they've fucked with science. They've given scientists misinformation. But the Northern Lights is them with a flare gun, a regular sized flare gun, for their little tiny elf paw to fire the Northern Lights into the sky that Santa runs on.
Why do we never see the Northern Lights when Santa comes below the Arctic Circle, then?
Because this movie is bullshit.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Got it. Yeah, you forgot about that.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. Because reindeer can't fly. They have to run on the Northern Lights. Of course reindeer can't fly, you fucking idiot.
Well, at least they have that down.
The elves also give Reynolds Santa's toolkit, as well as a bracelet straight out of a video game that can unlock any lock. Because sometimes when you're Santa Claus, you gotta sneak into the missus' room and give her Christmas present behind locked doors, if you know what I'm saying. I'm saying Santa's a rapist. Allegedly.
What does Bill Cosby get for Christmas? I guess he's on the naughty list, so just coal, right?
I hope Santa rapes him.
What would a rapist coal miner get for Christmas? Because if you give him coal, they'd be like, great, I can take the day off. You're welcome for that. You're very welcome.
You know how like robots malfunction when they hear a paradox? I think my head's just going to explode trying to figure that out.
Oh god.
So Reynolds and Son launch off on a ridiculous loop-de-loop, and the sleigh is en route. We're treated to a ton of screaming from English Ryan Reynolds as they run along the Northern Lights Road. At one point, they actually end up in space, of all things, because this movie is ridiculous, even for a kids' movie.
Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah. So the cops and mean parole lady arrive at the post box tower that Reynolds and Son took to get to Lapland. I can't even say Lapland.
It's so stupid sounding.
I'm thinking about a molesting uncle now. They find a list that Tom made for the day, including the plan to get Santa at the prison with the magic powder, which sounds like the most to get Santa at the prison with the magic powder, which sounds like the most methed up game of Clue ever played. Meanwhile, Reynolds and Tom are over top of where the reindeer are being kept, and unsure of how to deploy Oswald the squirrel, they just huck the box over the edge of the sleigh, where
All right.
it would certainly lead to the squirrel's untimely death, but because this is a movie, the box gently lands and he's totally fine and heads off.
Well, he's a magic goddamn squirrel.
Yeah, he heads off to bring the reindeer and the sleigh together off screen to save on the CGI budget.
Of course.
So at the prison, Warwick Davis tells Santa that because the police know Reynolds is coming, they're going to move Santa to a more secure prison. Warwick tells him that he has a plan, but they'll have to beat up a guard in order to get away, at which Santa balks because he is decidedly nonviolent. In the sleigh, which we'll get to that, in the sleigh, the kid is futzing around with shit in the toolkit, and he hang on a second. Can you mark down this time? Because we need to cut this because it sounds like someone just opened my front door. I want to make sure I'm not about to be raped. I'll be back in like 10 seconds.
If you're not back in 5 minutes, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, please do.
He's got a katana.
Doesn't seem like it's anybody. I got the sword out for nothing.
I saw you grab that.
Oh, did that come up on camera? I didn't think it did. All right.
God.
Anyway, I don't know how much this is going to get cut or not, but if it does, I thought I heard someone trying to break into my front door, so I went to my closet and grabbed a sword and just went to look. So that happened.
Yep.
I don't remember where I was. Okay, yeah. All right. So the kid's futzing around with shit in the toolkit, and he finds a device that powers down all the power in the city. So Santa has a way to make blackouts. Now, there's machines that keep people alive.
I was just going to ask.
That need to have power. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, those places have generators. No. The entire city goes pitch black.
Ah.
Everything is out. Why the fuck does Santa have a blackout machine? Frankly, I'm still thinking rapist. If I'm being brutally honest, that still sounds to me like something a rapist would have.
Yep.
Allegedly, of course.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Mom calls Tom and gets him to tell her where they are going, and then sets out to chase after them with the stepdad. Meanwhile, English Ryan Reynolds and Tom land on the roof and use a slinky to open up the chimney. Larry explained. Oh shit! Wait, that's me. So yeah, they use like a. The kid puts a slinky down the chimney. The kid's just like fucking with shit in his tool bag, and I guess Santa has. Where does he get those wonderful toys? I don't know. He's got this slinky that he puts in the chimney and twists, and it like opens up the chimney for them to slide through. That's how Santa gets his fat ass in chimneys. I guess we needed that lore explained. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Reynolds and Tom sneak into the prison and dodge a guard. Meanwhile, Santa is getting moved to a more secure prison, but while a guard is moving him, he makes a break for it and runs to the gym to meet up with Warwick to escape. Warwick attacks the guard, and we have the two of them fighting for a while. Warwick, who is a little person and vaguely outmatched by the fit prison guard, keeps requesting aid from Santa, who won't join the fight. Warwick gets lassoed eventually and is being held by his little feets. Santa still doesn't wish to help until the guard mentions something about hating Christmas, which is enough to finally get Santa to snap and punch the guard right in his crooked teeth face.
What?
So that happened. Downstairs, we see English Ryan Reynolds and son sneak into the prison Christmas party, which is a nicer Christmas party than I have ever been to in my life. And I'm a free man.
Just go to jail.
In America, of all places.
Just commit a crime. Rob a bank liar. You'll get good Christmas parties.
I guess, at least in England, I don't know. So Reynolds meets up with the barber, who explains what's going on with Santa. The three of them go to collect him, who they realize is now gone. We cut to Warwick and Santa escaping through Warwick's tunnel, so of course I was right, but anybody could have been right about that. Reynolds and son don't know about the tunnel, so Reynolds writes Santa a letter where it, Shawshank Redemption style, shoots through the poster, reveals the tunnel. How? Okay, I'm talking to prison wardens now. If you are the warden of a prison, and there is a poster anywhere in your prison, tear it down and beat savagely the man who has it up. Even if there's no tunnel behind it, savagely beat him as a warning to other people digging tunnels.
If any warden after 1994, when Shawshank came out, still lets posters up in their prison, they should be fired.
Yeah, they should. And executed.
It might be a little much.
Call the queen, get her off her fucking throne, give her the royal claymore, and have her cut off his head.
Oh, can you imagine the Queen trying to cut your head off? How badly that would go?
Dude, okay, for real though, fuck the station and the office, but the Queen is a badass motherfucker.
She is, for sure.
She
but
really
just
is.
Her raising a sword to try to cut your head off.
She weighs about 9 pounds.
Yes, it would go badly.
Yeah, I think I would not only live, I think I'd be fine.
I want to find out. I want to see that.
Yeah. So the prison figures out about the break. We get Mr. and Mrs. Cop, we get Mr. Cop and mean parole lady in one car, and Mrs. Cop in another car speeding towards the prison, as we see Warwick and Santa running along the street, where Reynolds' letter catches up to Santa. So blah, blah, blah. After a couple minutes, Santa, Warwick, Reynolds, and Tom all meet up in the street, and whose car should show up but Mom and Stepdad. So everybody piles into the car, and we get all our characters together now. Banter, banter, banter. They eventually convince Stepdad that they're the real Santa and also everyone else as the cops show up to give pursuit. The cops don't really have any fucking justification for pursuing this car in the street for no reason, but hey, whatever, I guess. So he did kind of speed off suspiciously, I guess, but they have no... I don't fucking care. So here comes the most surreal part of this movie. And this is the part where I realized where I had to ask myself, is this real life?
I'm surprised the squirrel in the magic tunnel to the tower or the Northern Lights wasn't it before.
That's like kids' movie fare. That's,
right.
That, like, looking at them flying through the magic tunnel, that's just looked like something in Harry Potter. Like, really. It's for a movie where Santa Claus magic is real, elves are real, Lapland is not a rape dungeon, but a place where fucking Elf City is. Like, that's okay, sure. The squirrel thing is, that clearly it's just them saving a budget, so that was easy to see through. This is where it gets pretty surreal. And I was going to offer you a couple choices of things to see which one you would guess is real. And the other choices were going to be Santa files a toothbrush into a shiv in a comedy scene where he doesn't know what he's doing, or Santa has a strange experience in the shower with a large inmate.
Okay.
But what actually happens is, so they're getting chased by the police, and while he's rummaging around in his tool bag that Tom brought him, Santa pulls out... What do you think he pulls out?
A gun.
Yes.
Really?
He pulls out a Tommy gun.
Really?
What do you think the Tommy gun shoots?
Oh, what's a stupid Christmas thing to shoot? Candy canes?
That's close. Do you have another guess?
I don't know. Hershey's Kisses.
You're closer than you think.
M&M's.
Reindeer shit. So Santa begins firing reindeer shit, hanging out of the backseat of the car like this is fucking Grand Theft Auto because life is insane.
Oh my god.
He has a Tommy gun that shoots reindeer shit. And he's hanging out of the back seat, firing at the police. Yeah. This is where it got pretty surreal. So
yeah, you're not wrong.
He poops up 2 police cars, and the third one is Mrs. Cop, and she's continuing to give chase despite her car being covered in shit. It's like sticks to her window and everything.
How fresh is the poop? How do they keep it fresh?
Reindeer poop is very sticky. Science alert, apparently. According to in-movie Science Alert. I don't know if it's actually true. He says sometimes he sticks it to his feet to stay sticking on roofs. But
what?
Yeah.
I'm getting angry.
So she's Mrs. Cop is desperately trying to keep chase, and she can't see anymore. She sticks her head out the window. So Santa sees his opening and makes a quip before shooting her in the face with reindeer shit with a gun, completely disregarding the fact that she's currently operating a vehicle.
So she dies.
Flips and dies. Huge explosion.
Great. Good.
Totally.
She had it coming. Woman thinking she could be a cop.
Well, it's funny you say that, actually.
Oh, God.
No, obviously she's fine. I mean, she's like she's on the radio with Mr. Cop, who's with the parole officer, and she's like saying, I'm hit. And then she eventually realizes it's reindeer shit. And she just keeps shrieking, it's poo. I despise the word poo. It's such a little kid word. I hate it.
Right.
I never like the word poo. It's stupid and childish and weird sounding.
Once you're in kindergarten, you use the word shit like a goddamn adult.
Yeah, motherfucker. So that's the story of Mrs. Kopp. She's just out of the movie, which I have not really talked about her because she's in a decent chunk of this movie, but there's this weird story with her that comes up in almost every scene she's in where she's like the rookie cop who's like out to prove herself, and Mr. Cop is always giving her shit for like being the rookie, but they're not really major characters. They're like the most important minor characters, like those two and the parole officer. Yeah. And this is just how her story ends. She's out of the movie now. She's done. She just shit in the face and she's done.
Weird. That's the kind of thing that always makes me wonder if the screenwriter had a resolution for her, and if they even filmed it, and that's just one of the things on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, well,
or just where along the line that went off the rails.
The other two characters get resolution. Mr. Cop and parole officer are at the final confrontation. Mrs. Cop is just in the street covered in shit, and she was
maybe
the one
she got
who was...
dysentery and died.
Like, what is this, Oregon Trail?
Yeah, isn't that a dysentery a poop-based disease?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
I don't know. It's just, it's weird. It seemed like they were building up to, like, here's how you would have thought. Now, again, I know I'm the guy who says I like to have my expectations subverted. So I guess this is kind of hypocritical, but this isn't good. This is how they ended her story. What I thought it was building up to was that she keeps eating shit. Okay, well, that was not intentionally a pun. God damn it. She keeps getting, I want to say take a shit on.
Poo. Get poo.
Fuck you. She keeps, like, getting, I can't even, now all I can think of is shit. God damn it. I really can't think of anything else.
She keeps getting cunnilingus from Warwick Davis. Just over and over. It just turns into a porno.
No, she just, like, keeps getting scolded and being told she's a rookie and everything. And then I thought, like, at the end, she was going to be the one to let him go. She's going to be like, all right, get out of here. Come on, you guys, I'm a good cop and you guys are good people. But no, she just gets shit in her face and left in the street.
Maybe that's a metaphor for how badly we treat women in society.
I guess. Santa with the Tommy gun in the backseat of a car, I guess. This game of Clue's getting fucking weird. So, off screen, Oswald has gotten the fucking sleigh ready to go and the reindeer all ready to get. Reynolds asks how, and Santa says, oh, he flew it. Excuse me? How the fuck did he fly it with the magic powder? Because if you recall, the reason this couldn't happen, none of this could get to this point now, why Reynolds couldn't fly the sleigh in the first place to get Santa out, was because there was no magic powder. Which the magic powder they haven't loaded yet, because they're just getting there. So how the fuck did Oswald get there? How did Oswald do it?
Squirrels are 80% magic powder. Everyone knows that.
Of course.
Science alert.
Into it. Of course. I'm tapping out. Santa loads into the sleigh. Everyone gets their shit together. They make believers at a mom and stepdad. Warwick is, I guess, getting away with Santa. Mean parole lady arrives and reads Reynolds the riot act as usual, telling him he's a worthless sack of balls and he's going back to jail. The field gets surrounded by police as everyone circles up and prepares to apprehend Santa, whom, if you recall, they think is just a deluded burglar. Santa gives an inspiring speech about how, that's the character's real name, Reynolds sees things through, and the reason Santa knows that Reynolds is going to come through is because he's still trying to complete his Rubik's Cube all these years later. That's his redemption. You called it.
He hasn't been able to figure out how to Google the solution to a Rubik's Cube.
No, that's because Santa says he never, unlike other kids, he never cheated and he never gave up. He always kept trying his best to do it.
Sounds like a fucking idiot.
Yes.
You learn how to do it.
Yes.
What's the lesson here? Just keep brute force trying something when the solution is easily available?
I think the lesson is more never give up, but they present it in a very bad way.
But never give up on something stupid that that there's a solution for. That you could educate yourself with a solution.
You'd think that,
what?
yes.
What
I
is
can understand
this?
why you'd think that, you fucking idiot.
Oh my god. That reminds me of fucking crazy, like, incels who are just freaking out because they can never get women at all, and they never try to figure out how to change anything. They just keep being their own insane selves and waiting for the world to change around them and things to magically go better.
Yes, but also you never give up.
Oh boy.
That's how you know you see things through. You keep doing the wrong thing over and over until Santa Claus fixes your life. So.
I hate Rubik's Cubes. I hate the 80s. It's the worst decade. Nothing good came out of that godforsaken fucking decade.
I'm so excited.
I hate it.
My life is great right now. So, Santa says...
Your movie for me for a couple weeks from now is from the 80s, isn't it?
Sure fucking is. Santa says that
so
Reynolds...
is yours, you bitch. It's going to be the same movie. I swear to God.
There's no way. I really hope it is. Because then we can both review it.
It'd be interesting.
Is it a special episode then? Is that how we do this?
I don't know.
I guess it'll have to be. I guess we pick new movies and it'll have to be a special episode. But I think if we pick the same movie, I know we're dipping into next episode's bit. If we pick the same movie for each other this week, if you pick the movie I picked for you, the movie I picked for you is a movie I love with all my heart. So I don't know that it'll work.
Well, I'm curious. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
It's going to happen eventually.
It's going to happen
soon,
for sure eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, Santa says that Reynolds and Tom have saved Christmas for the entire world, and that is an unchangeable fact, even if the police take their freedom. So you just, you're not taking the fall on this one there, Santa? You're just letting this happen, you dickhead? And as I write that as if an answer to me, Santa says to Tom that adults don't believe in the magic of Christmas and need to see it with their own eyes, which will warm their cold heart. He promises mean parole lady won't take them back to prison. How do you know this, Santa? Have you done this shit before?
He knows everything.
What the fuck do you know that we don't know, Nick?
Everything except the fact that Warwick Davis is a human being who fucks a lot.
I mean, the fucking a lot was just my... Let's not malign the name of Warwick Davis, please.
Well, he damn well better fuck a lot.
I really hope he does.
Yeah, I mean, not, like, too much. But I'd say pass and go and getting 200 titties is reasonable. If his body count is 100, I think that's on par for Warwick Davis at this point. He's not, like a Brad Pitt or something where he's probably banged over 1,000 women, but I'd say 100 for Warwick Davis is good.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Warwick, from the Bells of Netflix, Merry Christmas to you, Warwick Davis. We hope you're out there. We hope you get the...
Email in with your body count,
yes,
Mr.
please.
Davis.
The email's just so long. Like, my computer's going to open up and a scroll's going to come out of it with more names.
He just sends us the names and phone numbers. It just turns into us interviewing all of Warwick Davis's lays.
There's a podcast for the fucking ages. Warwick, call me. So, Warwick himself, Santa, and Oswald the Squirrel lift up into the sky, and as predicted, Mr. Cop and Mean Parole Lady's hearts grow 3 sizes that day, and they don't arrest anybody. Santa shouts Merry Christmas, and is answered in turn by everyone as our main family all hold hands. And watch Santa speed off into the moonset, because it's nighttime. And thus did Santa and Warwick fly off, where Warwick certainly joined in the chain press gang of Santa's workers, doomed to wither and die among the holiday spirits of Finland, far away from jolly old England.
That's fucked.
Merry Christmas.
So...
That's it. Movie ends. I don't know.
Weird...
We get no resolution to anything, really. Mr. Cop and Mean Parole Lady are like holding hands. They have brief sexual tension in an earlier scene. Yeah, I know. Wrap your head around that. I ignored it because who cares? Right. But they're like not mean anymore, and that's kind of the only resolution we get. And Ryan Reynolds is like English. Ryan Reynolds is like now a good guy. I guess everyone trusts him now to not because Santa gave him the okay. I don't fucking know. Who gives a shit? Warwick Davis is gonna die in Lapland with elves.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So,
Poor Warwick.
this movie, honestly, it's not anything special. It wasn't the worst thing ever made by any stretch, but it was far from good. As far as Christmas movies go, it certainly isn't memorable. This isn't going to join my rotation of Christmas traditions, believe it or not. It was distressingly English in all the worst ways. It left a lot of things unresolved, and it was dreadfully boring. Watching Santa Claus firing a Tommy gun at a car window at police like Nico from GTA 4 was pretty surreal. But overall, the whole thing was too long, coming in at 1 hour and 42 minutes. Too drawn out and way too whiny. The kid and the dad are both very whiny, just at each other about, like, their present circumstances. Come on, Dad, I want to go help Santa. Oh, son, I just got out of prison and I want to be a good dad and maybe I can fuck your mom. That never comes up, but, you know, I have to...
You know he wants to.
I have to make it obscene because I don't know how to be funny. That gets very old very quickly, and they're the focus of the movie. Given there was nothing really to make me as enraged as much as just bored me to tears and wasted my time, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. The acting was fine, the effects were decent, the plot was average enough for a Christmas film that it didn't make me cry foul too many times. So I guess, whatever. It's there, it irritates me, and I wish I didn't watch it twice. And Warwick Davis is criminally underused.
As always.
End of review. That's it.
All right. Well, you in the Christmas spirit after watching that?
Not really. No. I don't want to go to England. I'm glad I live in America.
Give it a few days.
No, I'm
right.
good. I'm fine. Quite happy not in England.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much, all of you lovely listeners, for sticking around with us. We know it's the Christmas season. You got a lot of stuff to do, but you also got to hear about bad movies, and instead of watching them, you're here with us, because we're going to do the dirty work for you.
Hells yeah. Hells yizzle.
So make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Those are both at Bowls of Netflix. Send us in an email, bowlsofnetflix@gmail.com. If you have any of your favorite bad Christmas movies, that'd be awesome, because we're going to need them for next year, too. And
Christmas in July.
No, I don't think I can handle that.
You can.
Fuck you. Shout out to Kevin MacLeod, who makes all of our music. His website is incompetech.com. You can get all his stuff Creative Commons license, so you can use it in your projects for free. You just have to give him credit. And make sure to rate and subscribe and tell us about your friends, because we'd love to hear it. Make sure to stay tuned for next week, because next Sunday, the 23rd, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, holly jolly right up against Christmas, we'll be discussing Angels in the Snow, a Christmas masterpiece.
Is it anything like Angels in the Outfield?
Yeah, who was the guy in that movie? Was that fucking Marvin the Martian? Or not?
I have
Marvin
not
the
seen
Martian.
Angels in the Outfield since I was like, when did it come out? That's when I saw it.
What the fucking old guy, the doctor something from Marty McFly movie that
Doc
I never
Brown?
saw.
Christopher
Lloyd, right?
Yeah, Lloyd.
Is that him in Angels in the Outfield?
I have not
that's
seen
him.
Angels in the Outfield. I saw it in theaters.
Oh, shit. You were a wee one.
I was a wee one.
I was a huge baseball kid, so I watched and I want to find one of those dumb movies, but there was like Little Big League, Rookie of the Year, Angels in the Outfield, a bunch of just stupid baseball movies.
Well, I think a lot of those are well liked, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm sure they're bad.
Yeah, probably true.
I mean, Rookie of the Year, the kid like breaks his arm and it magically heals so he can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and he starts playing for the Cubs. It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to hear you talk about it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I can't wait to do a review of me fucking up baseball terms and you correcting me every 2 minutes. Like a baseball
actually, I
professor.
should give you a baseball movie. That would be really funny.
Oh, God.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll be here right here on Sunday next week in your ear holes.
I can't smell you from across the pond, I guess.